Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to NFR. It's Monday night. Time for SAFRL Tier 1. Of course, tonight we have a sprint race. So, slightly different format. We have the normal qualifying, then we head off into the sprint race. then what's going to happen is we're going to switch the lobbies, start a new lobby for the feature race. That feature race starting order will be determined by the sprint race results. Still waiting for things to get underway. Seems like we might have a problem at the start of the race here, at the start of the evening, because, well, I'm not quite sure what happened. Going straight onto the formation lap. I think I got a bit mixed up there between the format. Seems like we're going straight off into a sprint race. I would then assume that this is a reverse championship order. It's a reverse championship order for the start of the race. It always makes for an interesting race because you have your quicker drivers towards the back and eager to get back to where they belong. So they're going to be making overtakes throughout the race and they're not going to be too patient about it. Luckily for the drivers starting at the rear of the field, just the 9 drivers in the field. That means everyone but one will score points here in the sprint race. And if we have the same field going into the feature race, everyone on potential points, the only thing that stands between them and points is a silly retirement. Of course, track needs absolutely no introduction. We're at Monza. Formation lap. Everybody now getting parked in. If you see any disqualifications, don't worry about that too much. It's just the guys that didn't get their parking quite right. It does push you back slightly in the box when you do that, so you get a slight disadvantage. Now the attention will turn to turn 1. Red lights, 3, 4, 5, pause, and we'll go. It's going to be a McLaren versus an Aston Martin into turn 1, an RB also getting involved. Of course, this is one of the worst turn 1s on the F1 calendar, but luckily for these guys, not too much of a big field. You should have space to be able to get through there unscathed. Really, the second time round that chicane, things will be a little easier. Showing no stops or one stop. I don't think we're going to see a one stop in the sprint race unless we have a safety car. I'm going to presume everybody's on the medium. Not quite. We actually have Tiago Maestro at the rear of the field. He's on a set of softs. So trying something different from the back, maybe hoping for a safety car in the sprint race. We have seen them before, even in a field this small. Andre leads the way. Virus P2, Awake P3. He started the race at the front, so he's already lost 3 positions. It's Ferrari in P4. Then we got Logic, Spikes, Mr. Rem, Tiago Maestro, and Not Shumi at the rear of the field. Andre, fastest lap of the race. That's because he's leading at the end of lap 1. This is your race leader. Not getting through that chicane the way he'd want to. That's the old chicane that they used to use in the 90s. See now the chicane a lot more harsh. There has been an update to that chicane. We haven't seen it on the game yet, but the entry and exit to that chicane has been widened. Hi Dan Ridfeld. I actually just looked at your comment now. I was talking about the chicane. The chicane, it has changed. It's been made wider, and it's not such an abrupt right-left. It's more of a right and a bit of a swoop into the left. So we should have a little less drama. But if you know F1 drivers, you give them extra tarmac, they're going to use it. This is Virus going up against Logic P2, P3. They're just starting to lose track with the leader. Andre out front. He's gone over that DRS barrier. He's over the 1.5 seconds now. Virus has gone up into P2. He's going to try and reel in that Aston Martin. Logic P3. It's Ferrari P4. Skull mentioning that looks like Andre had contact. That's why he took to the wrong chicane there in turn 1. Andre leads the way. Virus P2, Logic P3. Then it's Ferrari. Not Shumi making up a few positions. He was in P9 not so long ago, now up into P7. Let's have a look at the only Red Bull out on track. Currently P7, but we know this driver's got a lot of pace. Commentated on him in other leagues many times before. He's one of the quicker drivers in the field. He's just on the wrong side of the timesheets. Andre, new fastest lap, 121.7. Growing is the gap, 1.8 seconds now, the gap between the top two. It's Ferrari in P2. Then there's a whole stream of cars behind, fighting for third position. It's Logic, it's Virus, it's Mr. M. Everybody's so close together. This could all end in disaster. When you've got a field this small, that's the last thing you want to happen. Andre's still out front. That gap continues to grow. 2.4 seconds now, the gap. Now Logic. He's got some clean air ahead of him, but he's looking to get clear of this train of cars behind him. Every time DRS opens up, he gets attacked from the back. He has to use all of his battery just to prevent himself from falling like a stone down the order. And all the while, he's not able to concentrate on the leader. And that's why Andre is just able to grow the gap at the front. Got quite a few viewers in on a Monday night. Of course, if it's your first visit, remember to subscribe. We've gone over the 400 mark and we're trying to get to 500 subscribers. Well, if you've already subscribed, remember to just leave a like on the video. Andre still out front, 2.2 seconds. The gap has come down slightly. As I say that, 2.1 back to 2.2, so just hovering. Logic not able to get close enough to get within DRS, and then he's got all these cars behind him that he needs to worry about, all the way down to P5, Mr. M. Everybody's still fighting for that final podium position. Rather, the last two podium positions. Andre at the front, well, you won't be thinking about what's happening behind him. Love to just open up that gap further beyond the 3-second mark. Of course, there are questions about that penalty. But he'd be even more comfortable if he could just clear up all those questions on track, open that gap beyond 3 seconds. Still looking at logic. It's coming under attack from SAFRL. He almost got an RB on either side of him that time. But now Virus takes over in P2. Now Logic coming under pressure from the other RB. He's going to think he's seeing double. He's in an RB sandwich, one ahead of him, one attacking from the back. Deja vu. Just a few corners ago he was desperately defending from an RB. Now he's desperately defending from an RB. As I say that, he attacks the RB. Goes back up into P2. Virus loses that position. Nicely done. It's going to get DRS again. And ooh, that second RB. That's SAFRL. Just losing all sorts of momentum on the exit of the corner. Not getting the traction he would have wanted. He's lost a whole host of positions. That's what happens when the field is so close together. Just one mistake. It's not going to cost you a position. It's going to cost you 3 or 4. Andre's still out front, getting close to that 3-second mark that I mentioned, and he's just crossed it. That'll make things a little bit more comfortable in his mind. Virus still in P2. Not a comfortable P2 because he's just gone down to P4. Look how these guys are trading places. 4-second position. It's lap 7 of 9. Leader looks pretty comfortable. Actually just lost a whole bunch of time as Andre. He's lost 0.6 of a second somewhere. Must have been in that first chicane. Something just didn't go right. We saw him extend that gap just beyond 3 seconds at the start of the straight. And as we came out of that chicane, he had lost 0.6 of a second somewhere along the line. Just needs to forget about whatever that was, refocus and get on with it. Does that car have damage? He's still losing time. Trying to get a better view of the Aston Martin, but the game chooses to go to helicopter cam at the best time. And now we've got a long camera shot when all I'm trying to do is have a look at the front wing. The front wing is intact. Gap just seemed to... It fell to 2.4, then 2.1. Thought he was losing a lot of time quickly. Maybe made a mistake. Lost an end plate somewhere. But the car does appear to be intact. But he is still 7/10 down from where he was just one lap ago. .4 seconds the gap at the front. Logic. It's actually shaken off that crowd now. It's SAFRL in P3. Still defending from the likes of Mr. M. That's the other Aston Martin. What a sprint race it would be for the Aston Martin team if Mr. M could get past the RB here, get 2 Aston Martins on the podium. At the front, 2 seconds. Gap coming down, but Andre doing a good job of managing that gap, not coming down too quickly. And as I say that, starting to drop into dangerous territory. 1.7 seconds now the gap between the leaders. We're still looking at it's SAFRL versus Mr. M. Wonder if Mr. M thought about it. Got awfully close. Now you just want to line up that car ahead of you, coming out of Parabolica. It's a race of traction, then DRS. If you've got some battery, use it. I don't think it's SAFRL had much more battery to defend with. And as a result, Mr. M does go up into P3. He's 1.1 seconds adrift from Logic, so if he wants to turn this into an Aston Martin 1-2, he's got a lot of work to do. His teammate would appreciate that. if Mr. M got up the road and started affecting Logic's race pace. But for now, seems like Andre's got this under control. 1.9 seconds. This is Logic in P2. Also looks pretty comfortable. The gap is just over a second. Crucially, no DRS for Mr. M. As for Mr. M, Aston Martin 1-3 is not yet secure. It's Ferrari in P4. Remember his teammate Virus, he made a little bit of a mistake earlier on, otherwise that RB would be up here with them too. It's been a frantic race. It's gone by so quickly. This is Andre enjoying it. He's gonna go over the line. He's gonna pick up 8 points before the feature race has even started. He's already got a nice amount of points. Now, of course, it was a 3-second penalty for that chicane incident. As far as that penalty being reviewed, I think it may be reviewed. Can't confirm that for now. But either way, great drive from Andre. He was able to separate himself from that crucial DRS train in the early stages of the race and then just keep his distance. He kept his distance from the rest for quite some time, let them squabble over P2, and he was just able to, look like, quite comfortably bring those mediums home. Logic gets the driver of the day, at least for the sprint race. Panda, the chicane, I think it has changed on the game, but it's changed in real life. They're actually busy with it at the moment. So the victory there goes to Logic, according to the timesheet. Then Andre P2, Mr. M P3. Good night so far for Aston Martin. Then it's Ferrari, Virus, Spikes, Notsumi, Tiago Maestro, and Awakes, the only driver not to get a point. So Panda, I believe they reworked the chicane on the game, but there's actually construction going on at Monza as we speak. They are actively changing that corner. Of course, now we look down a vacant pit lane. So just to confirm, you can see everybody just leaving the session. That's because we're going to create a new lobby for the feature race. So you can stay with the stream. Just ask that you be patient with us. This should be pretty quick. Of course, now we've had the sprint race. Now what that does is, of course, we have the reverse grid order, meaning the quicker drivers have to come from the back. Sometimes they don't get all the way to the front, but they get pretty close to the front. So I think it's going to be a different story in the feature race. Some of those quicker drivers are going to be a lot higher up the field at the start this time around. And then of course it's a longer race. It's not as simple as beating up your tires for 9 consecutive laps. You have to do tire management. You have to think about what tire you want to be on at what point in the race. A lot more strategy involved. Just confirmation, we are doing a re-lobby for the feature race. You can stay with us. As soon as we get into the game, we'll be underway for the main event, for the feature race. The sprint is all a bit of a bonus. Everybody gets a few extra points if you finish within the top 8. For the feature race though, a lot more points at stake. Of course, the Monza track we know today, simply a iteration of what it was in the past. Monza previously measured at exactly 10 kilometers. If you're wondering how they got that right, that's because that layout incorporated the current layout as well as an oval. Oh, and you look at that, we've had a crash. Fantastic. So we're definitely having a good night on the channel. Apologies, I'm gonna just mute my PlayStation while it's doing all sorts of crazy things. Hopefully we can get back into the lobby as soon as possible. Got a few guys here in the lobby that are also in the comment section, so please just send me an invite. That is the third time we've done a re-lobby and I've been kicked out of the game, so the game doesn't tend to like that, going from one lobby to another too quickly. Of course, with the F1 games, you never know what to expect. Hopefully no drama this time around. And we do have drama this time around. So this is not looking good. If you are listening, please send more invites. And there we go. I can breathe a sigh of relief. I was getting a little bit concerned there, but we are back in a lobby. So now we just await everybody to get back into this lobby. Of course, we just had the field of 9 drivers. So unless anybody else squeezed in before the feature race, I expect we will still have just the 9 drivers. Lobby should fill up pretty quickly. It's a little bit more difficult to do this when you have the full field of 20. And of course, as mentioned, we'll get underway for the real thing. Sprint race only worth 8 points. Just a nice little bonus. Feature race worth 25. That's the one you want to win. That's the one that makes all the difference in the championship. Of course, we've got the 2 RBs, we've got the 2 Aston Martins, Both teams, lots of potential to score points. Welcome to Maggot in the comment section. Good to have you. You've joined us just in time for the feature race. We've had our sprint race. Now we're heading off into what will feel like a marathon after that sprint race. Of course, the sprint just 9 laps. 50% feature race. Gonna have to be a little bit more focused than that. Gotta be thinking about your tires. Logic. Finding the time to jump into the comment section and tell Maggot to get in a car. Already predictions of a Logic victory. Logic asking why Maggot's not in a car. Drama on the track, drama in the comment section. Of course, just waiting for everybody to get back. That is what the lobby looks like. I believe we're just waiting for one driver. We had a field of 9, currently sitting on the 8. I think we're just waiting for one driver, then we'll be underway. Maggot asking if he can do a late join. Well, if the admin approve and the lobby still looks like this, you can still squeeze in here. Just make sure you're in here before the cars are on the grid. I just realized I didn't write Italy, I wrote Italia. Well, it's all the same thing. Italy, Italia, Italian Grand Prix, Gran Premio d'Italia. It's all the same. So having another look. Seems like we do have that 9th driver. We've already got drivers readying up. As we say, Maggot is starting up. I don't know if he's going to make it in here, but some late drama just before the race. Of course, not that many runners tonight, but you can expect a lot of runners tomorrow night. Remember, League v League returns to NFR. Of course, League v League, 5 leagues, 4 representatives from each coming together on one night to compete as teams, not as individuals. It is a 3-round championship. We have had round 1, that was last week. Tomorrow we head to the Netherlands, head to Zandvoort. And that's definitely one I think everyone here would like to tune into. 20 drivers, and all of them with pace. And of course, 20 drivers around Zandvoort is always an exciting prospect. It's a bit of a roller coaster, that circuit. Not the widest of circuits on the calendar. Of course, it has been widened after its upgrade prior to its upgrade, it was in no way ready to host a Formula One race. It was a very narrow circuit. Of course, hosted Formula One many times, did the Netherlands. Then the Grand Prix went away for a long time, and Zandvoort stood stationary for more than a decade. And then Max Verstappen, well, he made sure that that track came back to life. He gave the people of Holland a reason to want a Grand Prix back, to demand a Grand Prix back. Max Verstappen, the reason for that Dutch Grand Prix. Of course, that's the way it works with Formula One. Formula One was at its absolute height in Spain when Fernando Alonso was champion. It was at its absolute peak in Germany when Schumacher was champion. And at the moment, it seems like the most popular fan bases are the British and the Dutch. And we're back, looking down the empty pit lane yet again. This will be for the final time this evening, or at least I should hope so, unless something goes very wrong. This is now the driver's final time to make their adjustments before the race, decide what tyre you're going to start on, how deep you want to go into the race. Are you anticipating safety cars? I think drivers will anticipate safety cars more in a race that has a bigger field. Just a long pause, waiting for things to get underway, but as soon as they do, we'll be on it. Of course, another thing to remember, I've seen some drivers make this mistake. When we have one of these sprint race, then re-lobby into the feature race, I've seen many drivers forget to put their setup on. So a lot of drivers start the race with the default setup and very quickly they realize that. Welcome as well to Pantry Star also in the comment section. Gonna get the dual green lights. That means we're gonna get a formation lap. Well, you look at that, the field has gone from 9 to 10. So a man who was in the comment section not so long ago getting ready to watch the feature race, he had an afterthought, jumped into the lobby at the last moment. Means we're going to have 2 McLarens in the field. And I'm speaking about, of course, is Maggot. Maggot's going to be starting from the rear of the field. Luckily for him, the field is not too big, so he's going to be starting from P10. Seems like Andre did hold on to that race win, because he will be starting from pole position. Logic P2, Mr. M P3, It was a good sprint race for those Aston Martins, first and third. Also a good sprint race for the pair of RBs, 4 and 5. We saw Virus make a mistake, otherwise I think he would have been higher up that field. Then Spikes, not Schumi, Tiago Maestro, and then the pair of McLarens. Awakes started on pole position for the sprint race. He starts P9 for the feature. And at the rear, the late edition, Maggot. Panda saying that he actually did that in Saudi. Forgot to put the setup on. Of course, remember the other advantage the drivers do get in one of these re-lobbies is if there's something you're not happy with on that setup and you want to change it before the feature race, Park Fermé is not going to apply because you've created a new session. Red lights. 3, 4, 5. There's a pause and we're underway. It's Andre versus Logic. The two that were so close together at the end of the sprint race are going to start close together at the start of the feature, and immediately Logic looks towards the inside. Andre's going to hold on to it for now. Everybody's just sort of got to respect each other there in turn one, otherwise things can go badly so quickly. Then Virus, he was the RB we saw sitting on top of the chicane just waiting for the field to go by. So Virus already having some serious misfortunes at the start of the feature race, had misfortunes in the sprint race. Luckily for him, this won't be a 9-lap race, it's a 27-lap race and still a lot can happen. Let's just bring up some info on your screens. Every time there's a yellow, I always look for that stationary car. Of course, last week we didn't have too many runners either. Didn't expect any safety cars, and we did get a safety car in that race. So don't take low attendance as a guarantee of no safety cars. That has proven to be wrong on many occasions. Logic has taken over at the lead of the race. Andre now P2. He's got to do everything he can to hold on to that DRS, but he's coming under pressure. He's coming under pressure from its Ferrari. He was looking like he was going for it, but then at the end just tucked in behind the Aston Martin. Still a long way to go in the race. No need to go for lunges just yet. You can still drive behind your opponent, look for a space, wait for a mistake, or just apply the pressure. With a 10-second penalty for Awake, he has entered the pits, and I believe he sped into the pits, so picks himself up 10 seconds. I think that penalty will be served immediately when he stops in his garage, so he should come out without the penalty. Of course, pit lane penalties, pit lane infringements can be served in the pit lane the next time you stop. Track infringements like corner cutting, they get added on at the end of your race. Here are your possible strategies from medium to hard or medium hard. I don't know, that second strategy never makes too much sense to me. Of course, if we get a safety car in the middle of the race, then all strategies go out the window. Andre sets the fastest lap, not Schumi sets the fastest lap. That's the car down in P5, so don't write him off. He's in the midfield, but he's quick. So Logic still out front, Andre still P2. This is the view from the man in P2. Logic, that's what 4/10 of a second looks like. That's what 2/10 of a second looks like. It's coming under pressure now from its Ferrari. This is its Ferrari, just behind the Aston Martin. You can see the leader just ahead as well. He had a Very busy sprint race, constantly defending positions, looking for positions, never found a space on the track just to relax. Andre was the one that had clean air throughout the race and a bit of a cushion behind him. The drivers like Logic, It's Free, Mr. M, all of those drivers were fighting right to the end of the race. And now, it's more of the same. Andre goes for the lead, and he's got the lead. But for how much longer will he have the lead? Because Faree's making a move of his own. Thought he was going to try and make the double overtake. Doesn't do the double overtake, but he does get one of those overtakes done. Wondered if anything was wrong there with Logic, but that car is definitely not ghosting. It's Faree. Now takes over at the front of the race. We've had 3 leaders in 1 lap. It's Faree, Andre, Logic. Been so focused on the top 3 we've forgotten about the rest. Mr. M, remember he was P3 in that sprint race, picked up a double podium with his teammate. He's now down in P4, so he's lost a position since the start of the race. We then have Spikes in P5, Notsumi P6, Thiago Maestro, he's in P7. Maggot had to start at the rear of the field because he jumped in here right at the very end. He's made up 2 positions, gone up into P8. We expect to see more from him. It's a quick driver at the rear of the field where he doesn't belong. Bring up your tyre screen. Majority of the drivers going on the medium compound. We've got 2 drivers at the rear of the field on the hard tyre, but both of those cars have made pit stops, so not going with their initial strategy. Notsumi the only man in the field with a set of softs, so that might explain that very good start. It's only lap 5, so those tyres will still be in a good attacking window. But when they do start to fall off, he's going to be the first driver to start having issues with grip. At the front, Faree leads the way. Gap almost at a second, 0.8 of a second. Big lock up there by the RB. And he is pushing, giving it all he can. Wants to get out of DRS, wants to break DRS. That's when the race can start to get a lot more easy. You can start opening up that gap. If you've got the pace advantage, the gap will just naturally get bigger over time. As long as that guy is behind you in DRS. Doesn't matter if you're 2 or 3 tenths quicker. The DRS zones are cancelling that out. Of course, DRS will disappear in its current form in 2026. We will have, I suppose, another form of DRS. It's just not going to be called DRS. The active aerodynamics on the car will, the wing will simply move on the straight when it needs to. It's Faree out front. Logic P2. Andre has lost another position. He's gone down to P3. He's ahead of his teammate. Mr. M a further 2.7 seconds adrift. He's just ahead of Spikes. Spikes just ahead of Notsumi. Then Thiago Maestro. Maggot in P8. Do have a caution. We look to the track. Seems to be at the end of, actually rather at the start of Sector 1. Just had a McLaren going very slowly. Maybe just leaving the circuit there at the chicane. It's Faree leads the way. He was opening up that gap. Dangerously close to breaking DRS, but Logic has come back at him. That gap now just over half a second. Andre in P3, not far behind either. We'll be hoping that it's Faree and Logic can have a bit of a tussle. could force a mistake, force a break in momentum for both cars ahead. Could then swoop into the lead. Things very close. A second covers the top three. Just the second Aston Martin coming under all sorts of pressure from a Ferrari. Ferrari of spikes, the only Ferrari out on track. It's a tragedy. Just one Ferrari showing up to Monza. It's a Tifosi, I can tell you, would not be impressed. The only Italian team showing up to Monza with both their cars is RB. Of course, many people forget RB is an Italian team. The former Minardi team. An Italian team with a long history. Usually found themselves towards the rear of the grid. But then when things became too much and the team was on the brink of bankruptcy, Red Bull decided having one team wasn't enough. And just a year after entering F1, decided to buy a second. Andre still in P3, Mr. M still P4. We're following this battle because it's a close one. Battle for P4. Spikes all over the back of the Aston Martin. Doesn't really appear to be making a move just yet. Does have a clear gap to the car behind him. Actually got some very big gaps in the field on lap 8. I think that is because Natsumi, yes, he's made the early pit stop. That was the car that was on softs. He's gone on to the hard, and I presume he's going to try finish the race on that hard. It's going to be quite the marathon, 19 laps on a set of hards. Possibly 20 laps on a set of hards. This is Maggot. He's in the pits. He's been in the wars. Jumped in maybe a little too late. Feeling a little rusty. Not quite sure. But he'll be hoping for a safety car that can bring him right back into this. He's back in P10 where he started. At the front, it's Ferrari. Then Logic. Then Andre. Those three cars still very close together. This is the view of the car in the middle. You can see the leader just ahead of him, 0.6 of a second. Behind him, that is most certainly not 0.6 of a second. That's what 1/10 of a second looks like. Andre all over the back of Logic. Pushing, pushing, pushing. And eventually, a mistake has to come from somewhere. Spikes now starting to just fall adrift a little bit from Mr. M. Needs to stay within that DRS, it's so crucial. Field will quickly start to spread out as these cars lose DRS contact with each other. It's Ferrari. Look back, that is less than 1/10. That's 0.08 of a second, and that is an Alpine attempting to go around the outside of Parabolica, and I think he might have just got it right. It's going to be side by side all the way down the straight, and look who steals it from the outside. We didn't see that on the camera angle, but Andre came from nowhere. Thought he was going to try and go as late on the brakes as possible, go into the lead at the chicane, but he accepted second place. And Andre off the circuit. That is not the way he wanted things to have ended. Just to rub some salt into the wounds, he didn't get on track before those two cars zoomed by, so he loses not only momentum but also position. Andre down to P5. Don't get annoyed. Don't let it get you annoyed. Don't start driving in anger. Remember what you were getting right in the first place. Concentrate on those things. And as we know, in F1 and on this game particularly, anything can happen. any number of safety cars. Seen safety cars come out just in the last 2 weeks. We saw a safety car come out with just 3 laps to go. So still anything can happen. Still so much can happen. You need two things. You need pace, and you're going to need a little bit of luck. Andre's got the pace. He just needs that little bit of luck. At the front, it's nothing about luck. Logic versus It's Free. I think there may have been contact between Logic and Andre, but that is not confirmed, as I didn't see it. We were riding on board, so I don't want to give any sort of confirmations on the stream, but there was definitely contact, I believe. Whose fault it was, we'll never know. Maybe giving the stewards something to scratch their heads about a little later on. Logic leads from It's Free, the gap just half a second, so still well within DRS. Those are the leaders. Then we have a big drop of 4.5 seconds down to what is now the leading Aston Martin, Mr. M. Then Spikes P4, Andre in P5, and starting to make up ground now. Just 1.5 seconds adrift from Spikes. So he's making up ground in the race. Just a bit of clean air, and he's able to show his pace around Monza. This circuit definitely a favourite for that Aston Martin. We know he's quick, but here in Monza, it seems lightning. Logic out front. It's Free P2. You can almost think there's just one car going down that straight. That's how close the RB was behind the Alpine. It's Free to the lead of the race. These two keep trading places. Andre back up into P3 because Mr. M and Spikes, the two cars ahead of him, they have come into the pits. So Andre gets himself back up onto the podium. But unfortunately for him, he's going to look up and see a 7-second gap to the cars he was once fighting with. Of course, he was still able to get back on track in a reasonable amount of time. Sometimes that first attempt to get back on the racetrack, you'll end up spinning a second time on the grass. Things can get even worse. Skull just saying lots of viewers, not a lot of likes. That's right, only half of you have currently hit the like button, so remember to leave a like on the race. We're seeing some good action on the track. Remember, it's only lap 13 of 27, so we're almost at halfway in this race. We haven't seen any safety cars. Started with 10 drivers. We still have the 10. But one thing we do have a lot of, we have a lot of penalties. 5 of the 10 drivers in the field have picked up penalties. Just going to try get some confirmation on those penalties, and they're nasty. They're nasty, nasty penalties. Seems like a lot of these drivers having some serious trouble with the pit entry. Mr. M, Spikes, Awake, and Maggot all sitting on 10-second penalties. Those will be added on in their next pit stop, and if they don't have another pit stop, it'll be added on at the end of the race. Then the only track infringement penalty goes to Thiago Maestro. He's got 3 seconds worth. Of course, you get a late safety car, you've got a 10-second penalty, you're not going to have a very good result. Of course, everyone in the race just needs to finish to secure a point here tonight. Just the 10 in the field. Top 10 score points. 4 points on the table for everyone. Just need to get the car to the end of the race. It's Free, Logic, not Shumi. And we have a retirement. And crucially, this retirement is right in the middle of a pit window. Some drivers will have pit just before the safety car. Some drivers will pit Now, so I think what that is going to do, it's going to give Mr. M some nice track position. It's free and logic, they did make their pit stops. Awake, he's on 11 lap old hards. Virus on 9 lap old hards. Surely those cars will come into the pits, make use of the safety car. Panda cursing the safety car in the comment section. You can't do that, Panda. You've got to remember, some of the drivers in the field, yes, they're going to agree with you. They're going to hate the safety car. Some of the drivers in the field, they see the safety car as a second chance. Second chance to roll the dice and to still get something decent out of this race. Of course, earlier on we're under safety car, so I might as well do a bit of filler. Earlier on we were talking about the old Monza layout. If you will, of course, I think everybody's familiar with the oval here at Monza. So if you want to picture that old layout, first picture the circuit we're currently racing on. Just remove all of the chicanes. So the Monza we currently know, with no chicanes, and then it incorporates the oval into the layout, because on one lap you'll come out of Parabolica, stay to the right, join the oval, and then when you come around the oval you'll stay to the left and join the circuit. And when combined, it was a layout of 10 kilometers. Of course, those banked corners could never be used by today's current F1 cars. Fortunately, we don't get a view of them anywhere on the game. Some very, very impressive banked corners at Monza. Yeah, there we go, Panda. Andre, one of the cars, happy with the safety car. Remember, Andre had the pace. He made the mistake. Then he had to make up quite a considerable gap for him to catch up to the top two again. What this has done is it's brought him back on terms with those leaders, and we know he's got the pace to stay with them at the restart. Just needs to make sure there's no error this time round. I almost said there was an Aston Martin out front. Got a bit confused. Should only be two Aston Martins, but there is an Aston Martin out front. It's not Andre, it's not Mr. M. Not sure who's in that safety car. Could very well be Skull or Panda. Could be an interesting addition to the game. Get a extra person in the lobby and they get to drive the safety car. Could be quite chaotic. Or it could be really entertaining if you put a real clown in that safety car. Imagine a safety car brake checking the leader. Apologies for the rambling, but that's what happens as soon as we have some moments of silence. I start speaking rubbish because there's nothing to commentate on. So luckily for all of you, we only stream the races. We don't stream any practice sessions because you'd be hearing a lot more filler. Of course, I have commentated in endurance racing in the past, and then when you speak of filler, oh, you've really got to dig deep. Once commentated on a 6-hour endurance race, and by halfway we only had 2 cars on the lead lap. It's not much to commentate about there. Got to start pulling out obscure track statistics. Otherwise, you just get awkward silences. This is probably the good time to have a co-commentator. Skull saying that for next season he's going to apply for that safety car role. Would be pretty interesting. I still say I want to see a safety car driver around here brake checking the leader. Now that would make things interesting. And it would make things, well, quite confusing in the steward's office. He crashed into the safety car. No, he brake checked me. Panda asking me questions about Fanatec. Fortunately, I can't comment on that because all I know about it is what you just said there in that question. Did hear about the filing in the news a few days ago already, but didn't really read into it. It's a really big operation. A lot of sim drivers do use that equipment. So I don't imagine the company will simply disappear. Almost certain somebody will come in, maybe a third party, maybe another company will come in and take over. But obviously there are a lot of drivers out there with those wheels that will be a little bit worried about what's going to happen now to their after sale service. So now, confirmation, safety car is in. We go around Parabolica and we get going once again. It's lap 17 of 27, lap 18 rather of 27. We're going to have 9 laps to go at this restart. It's Ferrari, then Andre, then Natsumi, then Mr. M. Andre up into P2, so he'll be having a nice track position for now, but he's got 5 lap old cards on that car. Natsumi, he's just taken P2 away. He's gone up into P2 himself. He's got a set of mediums, so he's going to have a slight advantage over its Ferrari, at least at this stage in the race. Of course, only 9 laps to go. That was the distance of the sprint race, so those mediums should be able to get to the end. But for some of those drivers, they've already done 4 laps on the medium. Most of those laps would have been done under the safety car. I think everyone on the medium should get there quite comfortably. Then we have 2 drivers at the front on a set of hards. It's Ferrari and Andre. I wonder if they're not too happy now with that decision. But it is a decision they're going to have to live with till the end of the race. It's Ferrari leads the way on that hard set of tyres. Then Natsumi. It's advantage Red Bull. He's got the medium tyre. He's got the quicker tyre in the closing stages of the race. Don't want to bring back any memories for Merc fans, but that sounds very familiar. The Red Bull closing in the final stages of the race after a safety car on the fresher compound. That does really sound like something I've heard of before. It's Ferrari still out front, Natsumi still P2, then Andre P3, Logic P4. Logic not P4. He goes up the inside, takes the position away, goes up into P3, and now he's going to start chasing after Natsumi. Natsumi trying to catch up himself. He's trying to get on the back of its Ferrari to take the lead. Now Notsumi and Logic, both on the medium. They're both going to have the advantage here at the end over It's Free. Andre, he's gone down to P4. Was in P2 at the restart. He has now fallen behind those two medium runners ahead of him. I think he would have had the pace to stay with these guys. I just think he's not on the right tyre at this point in the race. Two drivers that are on the right tyre. Notsumi, Logic, P2, P3. And for how much longer will they be P2, P3? Because Shumi goes to the outside and takes the lead of the race. Very confusing name that, Notsumi. Because I want to call him Ralph. His name is Ralph. So into turn one there I almost said Ralph Schumacher. That's someone who hasn't been on the grid in a very, very long time. Of course, his son doing well in World Endurance Championship, David Schumacher. His F1 career didn't go according to plan. It sort of stumbled in Formula 3. But he has since gone off to other categories. Notsumi, he is out front. And a penalty comes up as Notsumi runs wide. I thought that penalty was for Notsumi. In fact, it's for Maggot. Just perfect timing there. Penalty coming up as the Red Bull leaves the circuit slightly. Thought that was a penalty for the Red Bull. It is not. It's a Red Bull it's a penalty for the man down in P7. So now Notsumi, the new leader of the race, 4/10 of a second, 3/10 of a second. I don't know if he's going to be the leader for much longer. Logic doesn't do anything too crazy, stays behind the Red Bull for now. Still a few laps to go in this race. Now Mr. M picks up a 3-second time penalty. Joins the club that Maggot was already in. Of course, all those 10-second penalties we saw on the screen have been cancelled out. Guys actually get away with that penalty when you have a safety car. You're able to come into the pits, serve the penalty under safety car. Get away with it, get away with that 10 seconds, it gets wiped clean. Notsumi, Logic, fighting for the lead. Logic was fighting for the lead in the sprint race, but he wasn't fighting against this man. He's got a different opponent this time round, and it's a Red Bull. Notsumi out front, Logic P2, then it's Ferrari. We have Andre in P4, and I'm telling you, don't count anybody out in that top 4. Everyone in the top 4, no penalties. Top 4 drivers covered by less than 1 second. Huge action at turn 1. Trading places. Logic, it's Ferrari, Notsumi, Andre. So all of those cars traded places. Notsumi was in the lead of the race. Logic was in P2. It's Ferrari was in P3. Now things have changed. Logic gets into the lead. It's Ferrari gets into P2, and Notsumi loses 2 positions. Andre still there in P4. Close behind. Still looking to snatch a podium. Maybe even more if there's drama up front. If you're hoping for another safety car, time is running out. Thiago Maestro, the only DNF on the night. Of course, if you are listening, just a reminder to all the drivers, if you do have an early retirement, please do not leave the lobby, as it can affect the race result, can affect the other drivers. So just stay, get in spectator mode, watch the race, and if you're too angry to watch the race, simply put the controller down, walk away, but don't leave the lobby. Or better yet, join the stream. Less than a second covering the top 4 as we go over the line. Lap 23 of 27, the lead of this race is still far from decided. It's Ferrari. RB versus Alpine versus Aston Martin. The Aston Martin got up into P3 briefly, then Notsumi just got the better traction on the medium tyre, was able to retake P3. Andre's still there. I'm going to lose my voice. It's too much action. Earlier on we were talking about no action. Look what the safety car can do. See, Panda, never curse the safety car. It's Ferrari, Logic, Andre, Notsumi. The top four have remained the same. They've just traded places over and over again. It's Ferrari from Logic. Andre back on the podium after what was a frustrating start to the race. Safety car has breathed new life into his race. Notsumi was also one of the drivers who benefited from that safety car. He's been quick all night, but he's never been battling for the top three. After that safety car, found himself in the position to do so. Top four now have spread out. It's Ferrari, leads from Logic. Andre has been able to hold on to those top two. Just see them there up the road. The Alpine makes a mistake, goes very, very wide. Now his exit to the corner will be compromised. Andre's not going to have DRS because he wasn't close enough behind when that incident happened. And he's still coming under all sorts of pressure from Notsumi. So while he's looking at a possible P2, he's still got to look at his mirrors. Difficult times at the end of the race. No time to breathe. No time to have one last preparation lap to take an overtake. Got to attack, and you've got to attack now, because if you don't attack now, you're going to be attacked. It's Ferrari, probably in the most comfortable position on the circuit at the moment. 9/10 of a second down to Logic, then a further 9/10 of a second down to Andre in P3. But Andre, not yet a comfortable P3. Notsumi, as they enter Parabolica. Want to get as close as you can in Parabolica. At the start of this straight, you open up DRS, you get as close as you can, you make the overtake into the chicane, but on that occasion it was too far behind when you opened up that DRS. You need to be a little closer in Parabolica if you're going to make that overtake stick into turn one. Ferrari leads the way, then Logic, top two still very close together. Andre has fallen off somewhat, 1.7 seconds, but he's still fighting Notsumi for P3. These two are battling it out for the lead. It's Ferrari versus Logic, RB versus Alpine. Two teams you'd never see at the front of the field fighting for the lead. That's what you get on the equal cars. Anybody in the field is capable of winning. Nobody has a car deficit or a car disadvantage. So we get some very interesting lineups. Lineups you couldn't even imagine in the real thing. We have an RB leading from an Alpine, leading from an Aston Martin. And the nearest big team is in P4. As I say that, I don't think the Red Bull liked me saying that. Steals P3 back. If Andre wants that podium, he's going to have to fight a little longer and a little harder. But now he's coming under pressure from his teammate. The Aston Martins, Andre's been the quicker of the two throughout the night, but now find themselves on opposing strategies. And that tyre difference may just be the difference between the teammates. Now Andre's been quicker, but now Mr. M showing signs of being the quicker Aston Martin. He is on the medium tyre. It is 10 laps old. It should be starting to fall off. We've got a caution, but it's too late into the race for us to worry about a safety car. We've lost Maggot, we've lost the Wakes, we've lost the Maestros, we've lost the Williams and both McLarens. We were quite excited at the start of the race to get that second McLaren in here, but both McLarens have retired from the race, so on a night where both McLarens could have scored points by finishing the race, they've both DNF'd. For Alpine, they just have the one car, but it's where they want it to be. It's in the lead. Now it's not. It's Ferrari takes the lead of the race. It's lap 27 of 27. And I wonder, was that the crucial time? Logic to retake the lead of the race. He's going to have to pull off something spectacular. This is as close as you're going to see them. I want you to picture that corner they just went through. On the old Monza layout that had no chicane. The sort of speed you would be arriving into that right-hander. It's Ferrari versus Logic. No penalties on the table, so we don't need to worry about that. It's a race on the track. What you see on the track is what's happening. It's going to be no penalties on our screen, at least we hope. Logic leaves it late, takes the lead on the final lap, lap 27 of 27. Is there going to be enough time for Ferrari to come back? We know he's got the pace to come back. Does he have the time to come back? If he's going to do it, he's going to have to pull something off quite insane in Parabolica. Is he going to have the traction to do so? It's hards versus mediums. It's going to be very close over the line, and a bit of a weave, and over the line 0.2 of a second is the gap between P1 and 2. Good day for RB. They get both cars on the podium, P2 and 3. Then Andre over the line, P4. Be a little bit disappointed. He knows he had more pace than that. Then Natsumi P5, also disappointed. He knows he would have led that race not so long ago. Things could have gone very differently. And the second Aston Martin, just going to wait for those official results. Some of the drivers did have penalties. Luckily, none of the drivers at the top of the field had any of those penalties. And before the F1 music comes on and I get a copyright strike, unfortunately we have to mute the game, so no nice podium music for you. There are your official results. Logic takes... Let me just do this real quick. Here we go. Race results. Logic takes the victory. Then it's Ferrari P2. Virus P3. Andre, he finished P4. Then Natsumi, Spikes, Mr. Rem, and I think that was your last finisher. We had retirements from Maggot, Awake, and Tiago Maestro. Saying that is the championship done. Is that confirmed? Is that confirmed? That they mathematically championship cannot be taken by anyone else? Well, we can't confirm that, but we will soon find out. Of course, the top 3 drivers as well as the driver of the day are invited to the NFR cool down room. We'll then bring you into the comms box for a chat. Of course, sometimes we get all the podium sitters and the driver of the day in here. We get all 4 drivers. Other nights, nobody shows up. So we will just give the drivers a few moments. If they do want to join, we'll give them an opportunity to do so. We had an exciting sprint race. Thought the feature race was going to get a little boring. We started seeing the gaps opening up, but the safety car came out and changed everything. Still no one in the cool down room, so we'll give it another minute. So I want to thank everybody who joined the stream today. We actually had quite a few viewers at the time. Not enough likes though, but we've got 6 viewers at the moment and 6 likes, so I suppose we can't ask for anything more. We're now just waiting to see if anybody does decide to join the cool down room. Of course, yesterday we had a full comms box, but for some reason nobody could hear them. Today I've sorted out the Discord, and we've got no one in the comms box. I guess that's just the way things work. As I say that, cool down room is starting to get populated. A few drivers coming in. It's Free and Virus. They're both in the cool down room. We'll bring them in shortly. We'll now just bring some drivers into the comms box. We've got Virus.
How's it?
Hello, hello.
We've got Virus and we've got It's Free. If you're in the comment section, just give me confirmation you can hear the drivers. We had a bit of a issue last night. So guys, let's start off with, let me just get the right screen up. There we go. It's Free. It was a very, very, very busy race. Did you?
Yeah, that was a tight race from the start to the end. I don't think there was a lap where I'm not far away from anyone, so it was lekker. It was fun.
Of course, looked like you guys were enjoying the Monza layout. Andre just missed out. He had the pace to be in the top three. Just made a mistake. Wasn't able to come back. But that safety car in the middle, did it ruin your plans, or did it fix your race? That's for both of you.
Well, for me, it was a bit difficult. I wanted to go to the mediums, but I was scared no one else is going to the mediums. And then with like 2 laps to go on the safety car, then Logic went to mediums, and I was like, now I can't, but it's too late. But I think at the end, it wouldn't have made a difference with mediums or hards. I think the tire pace is so close to each other.
Yeah.
It didn't make a difference.
Yeah. So after my early mistake in the race, after my spin early in the race, that safety car helped me a lot. Actually brought me back into the race, and yeah, so it just shows you just never give up on a race. Something can go in your favor, like it just did for me, and ended up in the podium there.
I said it on the stream. I think it was Panda that said in the comment section, his comment was, "Damn, it's a safety car" or something like that. And I was like, don't curse the safety car, because I promise you half of that field doesn't want the safety car. The other half really appreciates it. So
Yeah.
that can, if you're leading, it's going to annoy you. If you're at the back, you think, oh yes, I've got another go at this.
Yeah, definitely, and it worked out well for me. It worked out well.
Fantastic. Between the two of you, are any of you driving tomorrow night in the League v League?
Yeah, I'm driving in at Zandvoort tomorrow, yeah, for the SKR, yeah.
And you're representing SKR?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I'm also driving tomorrow.
representing
SAFRL.
SAFRL.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 opposing teams. So for those of you, we're actually getting more viewers now that the race is over. But so now I don't want to end the stream, and it's still going up. Okay, so don't know what's going on, but of course, might as well take this opportunity while people are watching just to remind you we're going to return tomorrow night. Don't usually stream on a Tuesday, but we're in the middle of the League v League Championship. We had round 1 last week. We return for round 2 tomorrow. Both of these guys are going to be there, opposing teams, and we're going to be in Zandvoort. Of course, reminder, no individual championship, 5 leagues, 4 drivers from each, and they'll be competing as teams. So they were teammates tonight. They're not going to be teammates tomorrow.
Nope. We're racing each other.
So thanks guys for joining the comms box. Do you have anything more you want to say? Anything you want to say to anyone in the comment section?
No, just thanks for the stream as always. I think it makes the races more interesting and fun to watch.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm glad you guys enjoy the racing. And I think a lot of you watch it after the fact. We get more views after the live stream. So
Mm.
thanks for all the support on the channel, and yeah, thanks to the 3 drivers that joined. We'll be back tomorrow night, obviously with League v League. Then we do this all over again on Wednesday. We return to Monza for SAFRL Tier 2, then DRS on Thursday, and then we finish off the week with SKR on a Sunday evening. So to the viewers at home, I want to thank you all for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Till then, cheers. Ah, that's that.